Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we are here with our big budget PC build and review. We're going to be using some AMD parts today to make this low-cost computer. And what you're about to see here can be constructed for about $315. I'm going to go through all the different parts that we're going to use here to build this PC. But by the time we're done, we will have a pretty low-cost computer that apparently can play some games. We're going to put it through the test and see what happens. Now, we did get some parts in from PNY and from AMD, and they provided these parts to the show free of charge. And what I'm going to do is, after I build this thing and do some tests on it, make some videos with it, I'm going to give this away. So we'll have a nice giveaway in probably about 2 or 3 weeks after I am done tinkering with it. So one of the viewers, can enjoy it when I am done with it. So let me go through the parts here and just show you what we've got here. Again, these were provided to the show free of charge. At least many of them were. However, nobody is paying for this review, and all the opinions you're about to hear are my own, and nobody is reviewing this content before it is posted, mainly because I am shooting this live right now. So let's go through the parts list here, and we'll begin with the motherboard, and I'll go through the price of everything also as I do it here. So what we've got here is a motherboard from ASRock. This is the let me get the right orientation here, A88M-G3.1, and AMD actually sent this to the show for us to build this computer with. This motherboard on Amazon at the moment will go for about $71, and you might be able to find less expensive motherboards here to do the same kind of thing. So what you're seeing here is what I put together. By the way, you can go to Lon.TV/budget parts and get a part list. So that is the motherboard. The case is rather large here, so I'm going to go back out to my big screen here. This is a what is this? This is a, let's see, case is a Rosewill R363 MBK. This was about $50. I'll try to get a better shot of it, maybe on one of my other cameras here. And this one looks pretty nice from the front here. Let me get the front angled around here. So very shiny, actually. This was $50 with a 400-watt power supply. I wanted to kind of get something that was a little bit more name brand than not. So that is what we went with here. So that is the case that we're using. Again, $50 for that. You can see that part list link there, so you can kind of get a feel for all of that. Now we'll get into some other stuff. You probably want to know what kind of CPU we're going to put in. So almost lost my screwdriver there. So the folks from AMD sent over their processor, of course, and this is, let me get it into the camera here. This is an AMD A10-7800. This is an older CPU, but they call these an APU, and they have apparently a faster GPU built into them. So the graphics processor that's on this chip is apparently faster than a comparable one you might get from Intel. So that is why we're testing this out. We haven't done a lot with AMD here on the channel. I felt bad about that. I ran into some AMD folks at PAX East, and they were very eager to have us put something together. So again, the computer we're building here today, you can put together for about $315. And once we get all the parts put together, we'll see how all of that works. So the processor, along with the fan and heatsink, will cost you about $114 on Amazon. So again, everything we're putting together here is very inexpensive. So now we got to get into some RAM. So you can't build the computer without a CPU, a motherboard, and some memory. So the folks from PNY sent over a couple of these monsters for us to use here. This is DDR3 RAM. This is their Anarchy RAM. It's got a nice big heatsink on it too. This is a 16 gigabyte kit. This will cost about $60. And if you're doing the math, you'll know that we're kind of running over the $315 budget. But you can get an 8 gigabyte kit for less than that. I think you can get that from Amazon. Let's see, what's the price on that? $40. So you can get 16 gigs for what you're seeing here for about $60, or pay $40 and get 8 gigabytes of RAM. You definitely want to get them in pairs, because this is a dual channel memory motherboard. So you'll get better performance by installing this in pairs. What we're going to do is put 2 sticks of 8 in here to get 16. But again, you can put 8 gigabytes in and spend a little bit less money. So that is what we have there. The CPU that you'll buy at retail will have a fan and heatsink, but AMD sent along this one for us too. So we've got that over there. And then we've got an SSD here. This is the PNY CS1311 SSD. Now this is only 120 gigabytes, so if you want an SSD, you're not going to get as much space for a low price, but I was very surprised to see what this little thing cost, and this one's only $40. So you can get an SSD for $40, get a nice zippy performance here on your computer. What I'm going to do actually is run our games off of this solid state drive from SanDisk. This is a USB 3 drive that I reviewed a while ago. And what I like about this is that it plugs in via USB 3 and I can move it around to all my different computers. So this is what I use when I test everything. So we'll be running our Steam games off of here, but again, you can get this SSD for about $40. And again, PNY sent this over to the show for us to take a look at. So those are all the parts here that we're going to build our PC with. And again, this is a PC that will be built for about $315. So let's go over to my big camera here and start putting the motherboard in, and we'll get that going. I will try to monitor the chat room a little bit, but I'm going to be focused on building this thing. And by the way, I think a lot of you are going to find better prices out there for some of the components that I have here. So I just kind of went out and found stuff randomly to try to get the lowest possible price from somewhat named brands. But if you go out and find maybe more generic brands, you might be able to build this for even less. So let me know what you're able to find there. Now, another caveat here as I start to put all this stuff together is that I am not the best PC builder out there. So some of you purists who like the best airflow and everything else are not going to like what I'm going to hack together here. But I'm about not wasting people's time, and I want to build this thing quickly and get it booted quickly so we're all not spending hours upon hours watching me just screw things into each other here. So that is why we're going to be very efficient here in our build, and it may not be the nicest looking thing when we're done, but hopefully it will all work. So we're going to get the motherboard lined up here, and then we'll start screwing it into the different screw holes on there. So I've got some screws in here, and we'll start that process. And we got the APU going here. And we'll see how the gameplay is. What I'm really eager to see here, because I've tested so many of these Intel CPUs with the integrated graphics, I'm really eager to see how the AMD stuff will fare, because everyone tells me it will do a little bit better. And now I got to make sure I get the right screws on this motherboard here. I think these are the right ones here. These might be it. So we'll get all that stuff in there, and we'll start putting this thing together. It should be kind of fun. Now, what I'd love to hear from all of you in the chat room is about overclocking the RAM, because that's the one thing a lot of people have suggested to me, is that you run the RAM faster than the base speed there. So I think I got the wrong screw in here. So let's see. Yeah, that's kind of in there. Let's see. Doesn't seem to want to stop. I think I need to get a different screw. They give you a whole bag of screws, but they don't tell you what goes with what. So we're going to take this one out and put in another one. Yes, I realize this is a magnetic screwdriver, but I have no magnetic media here, so we're safe in that regard. Let me get the right screw for the job out here. This one might be it. Yeah, I think this is the one. You have different screws, and again, they don't tell you what does what here. Let's see if this one will work a little bit better. All right, and there's to be no critiquing of my build skills here, because I have none. I'm good enough to get the thing working. My gaming PC build, I had so many nasty comments about how horrible a builder I was, but guess what? A year and a half later, it still works. So there. All right, we'll put that in there, and we'll get another screw over here. I'm always fascinated that people like to watch me build things on the channel. We haven't really done one of these in a while. All right, and I am definitely following the comments there, and it seems like everyone is really talking about the speed of the RAM for an APU, so I think we'll definitely be tweaking that as we go along here. So I think what we'll do is maybe if you all can start putting in some suggestions as to what I should set the RAM frequency at, that would be really helpful. So I'm probably going to start it on the default and then kind of take it up from there, because this RAM, by the way, looks pretty beefy here. So we've got 2400 megahertz, a 2.4 gigahertz RAM this is rated at. So I think we should be okay on this. So we'll see how it goes as we're putting everything together. And yeah, I think that's a good point, Eric. We'll just kind of leave it alone. My thing is that I don't like to tweak things too much, because I'll tend to break them, and then it would be very very disastrous. So we'll just get everything put together and operating, and we'll see what kind of power we end up here for $315. I think we'll do okay with this. And you'll notice too that we have two PCI Express 3.0 ports on, or slots on here that can support the 16X card. So we could put an external GPU on this later too if we wanted to. So there is some options for expanding this out further. We might build another PC in the near future that we do that with. To see what kind of performance a GPU edition might mean to it. So maybe we'll reach out to AMD and have them send us a GPU also to play with here. So we'll get the rest of these screws in here. Yeah, so the last PC I built on the channel was my gaming PC, the one that I do all my VR stuff with now, and that was probably about almost 2 years ago now. So this is a much less expensive computer. It's amazing just like how much stuff you get for so little money now. I mean, this just what this motherboard has on it. I was just shocked to see all like audio, you know, audio built in, the HDMI, everything is just on it here. It's ready to go. It's really kind of cool. All right, so we got that on there. I think we got all the screws in. So the next thing we're going to do is install Mr. CPU. So let's get him out here. And I'll put that parts list up again in case you want to see where to get all this stuff. And in case anyone is wondering, I have a static thing on. So in fact, I've had this thing since high school, believe it or not. I used to build a lot of stuff in high school and college. So let's get the RAM out here. And let's see, we'll put this guy in there. So you know what's funny is these builds always start off really smoothly and then something goes wrong. So hopefully that won't happen this time. So now what I'm going to do here is there's a little, you may not be able to see it on the camera, if I can get the position right here. There's a little gold arrow on the end, and that aligns up with the little arrow on the CPU slot here. So all I have to do now is just put it in there, and in it goes. And now we're going to take out the heatsink. And what's nice about this heatsink and many heatsinks that I have used over the years is that they have the thermal paste on it already, so you don't have to go get a thing of thermal paste to put all of it together. So that's very nice to have. So we're going to get this thing positioned on here and get it fastened down. All right, let's see here. Maybe I should put the other side in first, but there we go. And now we'll get the other side in. That did not work. Let's put this back on here. Maybe I got it on backwards. What do you think? Might be the case here. Let's see. One of the things when you have a budget PC is that you have the budget heat sinks that come with it too. So you have to kind of fight with this stuff a little bit. We had it right the first time. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's fasten this sucker down here, and I think we'll be good to go. That sounded good. Nice and firm there. Okay, so then we got that locked in, and let's see what we got here. So if you guys are wondering which, I already went through the component list, but if you go on to that link there, you'll see everything that I am putting into this computer and the price that I found on Amazon for it. So we'll be good to go there. And of course, this is like one of these packages that you need to completely rip apart. So the good news is Mr. Leatherman is here. So we're going to use Mr. Leatherman's knife. Hopefully I don't cut my finger open here. I already cut my finger once this evening. I don't want to do that again. So we will open up the RAM box here. Oh boy, this is a really tough package to cut through. I think I might go get my scissors. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to get the scissors rather than bleed on a YouTube stream. I think a lot of people would like to see me bleed, but that's just not in the cards for this evening. So let me go get my scissors, walk over here. One of the nice things about having a wireless mic is that I can do that. And I'm going to make it a little bit cooler in here too while I'm working on that. All right, I'm going to cut it open with some scissors here. This is the RAM we're taking out now. And again, we got a lot of these parts from AMD, and PNY sent over the SSD and the RAM. So we had some friends of the channel helping us out here, getting all this stuff together. And when I am done with this computer, we'll probably do a giveaway on it. What I might do is see if we can borrow a GPU for it and just see what a GPU might mean versus just using the APU that this is built in with here. So we'll get that going there. So let me go look in here. And I think what I want to do is put it in the red slots. So I think that is what we're going to do on the RAM. And we'll do... Now it's funny, what's going to slow us down is when we get to the Windows installation, because we have to just install it from a USB stick. So that will, this part goes really quickly, getting all the components installed. And what's nice is that there isn't many components to install because it's all integrated onto the motherboard here. So we have pretty much, with the exception of the storage, everything we need to get this thing booted up. So let's see what we got here. All right, so we got that in there. Let me clear off some of this stuff off the desk. And let's go get the SSD installed now. And I got a little tray here for the SSD. So we're going to open up the solid state disk now, get that going. And again, PNY sent the SSDs over. They've got actually some really nice SSDs. This is the lower performing one. I have a scissor here. I should probably just use that, shouldn't I? They have a lower performing one, which is this one. And then there's one that performs a little bit faster. It's not all that much money. And in fact, it's fast enough that I can use it as a recording drive for the videos that you watch on this channel. So they make some good SSDs. I've had very good luck with them so far. And PNY has been really eager to do some stuff with the channel, so they were happy to send along some of this stuff. All right, so the one thing this lacks is one of those metal mounting brackets, but what we're going to do is just kind of fudge it here. It's one of the beauties of solid-state drives is that they're not as finicky when you don't have them installed correctly. So I'm just going to kind of screw it into one of these holes here and just be done with it. Oh, I should probably screw it in that way. That might work. Let's see. Is there screws on the bottom of this thing? Yeah, there's some there. I could just probably find a hole and just screw it in that way. It was blocking the motherboard as I was putting it in. And it's funny, this is the same problem I had when I was building the other computer, was getting the SSD to fit in the case. So we need to get that in there. And as it turns out, the case that I was using actually had a spot for an SSD, but I was in such a rush to get this thing built. I really don't like wasting people's time like futzing around with stuff, so I like to get things built efficiently. And when I don't do that, I really feel guilty about it. So now I just forget. Okay, this is how it goes. It goes in like this. So where does it line up? Because this thing has to latch on. This is where I never was going to be an engineer because I can never get these things, stupid things to line up correctly. So let's see. I think this is... It goes in like this. I should have really noted how this went in before I did this. Oh, wait a second. Let's go tracks there. It's a puzzle. Oh, that's right. It latches into this thing. Right. So, isn't that weird? It just doesn't kind of... Oh, I see. There I got it. Now I got it. All right. It goes in like that. Okay. So, if we're going to put this drive in, now we can get it in the right way because I can just position it like so. Actually get better screws on there too. Yeah, okay, so what I'm gonna do then, it's funny with these SSDs, it feels like there's nothing to them. There really isn't. I mean, there's just a circuit board inside a little plastic case here. Pretty amazing. What's incredible is how fast some of these are too. All right, so we'll line it up that way. That one in there. So it turns out I could use the screws I had to begin with. And see, now you're seeing the fact that I am terrible at building this stuff because I'm already improvising, and it's still early in the build. My goal is to get the thing booted up. And typically what I do is I come back later and then fix all the, get it more elegant, because I have these really nice adapters that convert a little SSD like this into something a little bit easier to work with. Okay, so that's in there. So the next step is we're going to connect the power up to the motherboard. So this is a mini 8. Oh, look at that. So now I got to take this out again. So this has to go in here. So we'll connect that up like so. There we go. Easy enough. And then I think this is one of those newer motherboards, and we got to connect up another power adapter here. So let me see. I think it goes over there, but there should be another one in there too. So this case has a 400-watt power supply in it also, which is nice. So not bad for the price, and it's a name brand too. So you know you can get sometimes you can get some really cheap stuff, but occasionally you can get a pretty nice deal here. So I'm just going to consult the manual just to make sure that I get the right power connected to it, because I don't want to underpower my new motherboard. There's a manual, so we are going to look at that real quick here. So I think some of you might have connection problems. It's not on this end, or perhaps maybe it was. So what I do, by the way, when I do this streaming is I do the streaming type that allows this thing to get to you in the fastest, with the least amount of latency possible. And the reason why they do that is so that when you're chatting with me, I can respond quicker. Otherwise, it takes forever to get a response to all of you. Apparently there's an M2 port on here too. I don't see it though. Oh, there is one there. So look at this. You can put in a M2 SSD right in here between the two PCI Express slots. So that's pretty cool. I could have went with that versus the SSD that I got on there. All right. Sorry, everybody, I just want to make sure I got the right amount of power connected to this motherboard. All right, so my power supply here, please plug your power supply along pins 1 and 5. Okay, so we have to plug this in along pins 1 and 5. So I believe it is in the front there. What is there? So I'm hoping that doesn't blow up on us when we put this in place here. Let me just make sure it doesn't fit in the other one. Good, so it doesn't fit. Yeah, so I always like it that they key these things so it doesn't fit in the wrong way. All right, so our power is connected. We'll keep some airflow going there. And now I think we have everything we need to get started. We just have to put that SSD back in and connect up all of our connectors here. So this motherboard has USB 2.0 in the front. I'm sorry, this case is USB 2.0 in the front. I think there's a 3.0 slot here also somewhere, but these two in the front, I believe, are 2.0. And then the motherboard has USB 3.1 slots on the back. No USB Type-C, or does it? It's a USB. Oh, it does have a USB Type-C. How about that? It's a pretty up-to-date motherboard and not that expensive, so that's really cool. So we'll get that going. We do need to connect the fan header here, so we'll get that connected. And let's see. I'm looking at the chat here to make sure I got all the power hooked up properly so that it doesn't blow up on me when I turn it on. If it does blow up, that would actually might be good for the channel, because I would love to, I mean, that's one of those things that goes viral. Even though I'd look horrible, it'd be a horrible thing to see that happen. It would be something that I think people might enjoy watching me make a fool out of myself. All right, so let's plug in the USB connector. And then we have some HD audio. So where is that connector go? HD audio. I love how all these things are keyed, so you know exactly where they go. AC97. I don't know if I need that. I don't need AC97, whatever that is. All right, so let's get through that. And now we've got all of our little connectors here. So we have our power switch and our reset switch and all of that. So I need to find where those things go. So let's take a look here and see where those are. There's the power. Okay, so we need to find So I got the power switch here. So where does the power go? Power button is right here. And then we have hard drive LED. Right there. And then what else do we have? The reset switch on the end there. The power LED goes right over on the top there. So I'm going to pull out the hard drive one for a second because the power one for some reason is on two different little thingies here. So let's plug in. Hopefully I got them plugged in the right way. If not, we will soon learn that we didn't plug them in the right way. Oh, did my stream go down again? Stream has resumed. So it looks like we're still going to have some trouble with the stream tonight. And that is nothing I can control. It's probably Comcast and YouTube doing it to me. But don't worry, I'm recording it all. So if it didn't make it over to YouTube, I'm going to re-upload the whole thing so people can watch it. And then I'm going to edit it down a little bit so that we can have a more concise version so people that don't want to watch 4 hours of me building a PC will be able to enjoy it as well. So we'll get that in there. All right, so I think we've got all the stuff connected. Now the next thing we got to do is put that solid state drive back in, if I can remember how this goes in. And what we're going to do there is get that connected so that we can get all the stuff hooked up. So snap that in like so. And then we have to connect up our SATA power, which is this one here. And what I'm going to do, what I prepped ahead of time here is, let me just plug this in. There we go. And we have a SATA cable down here. So what I did before I started recording is I set up two little sticks here. So of course we're going to boot Windows off of this Apple stick. And then I have the drivers on here for the motherboard because there will be a lot of drivers to install. All right. Okay, so we got all that in there. And it looks like, yeah, I think we might, again, have some stream problems, but don't worry. I'm just going to keep streaming until I am done or this thing explodes on me. So now we'll connect up the SATA cable here to the motherboard. And there are 4 SATA slots on this one too, which is nice. All right. And if something doesn't work right when it comes on, I think it might be due to the panel on here because it looks like things are in weird places, but we'll see. All right, PLED SATA 1 is right there. So we'll connect SATA 1 up. All right. Well, as crazy as this sounds, I think we might actually be ready to boot this thing up. So I'm going to clear off the desk here a little bit and get started on this. And again, I think we're going to be having some stream problems, folks, so bear with me. Okay, so I think we're going to change camera angles here a little bit. And what I'm going to do next is, I'm probably not going to put the whole case back together just yet because I'm sure I'm going to have to go back in there for something because these things never work on the first shot. So what we're going to do now is switch over to camera view number 2. And we're going to get Mr. Monitor out and plug that in. I'm going to clear off the desk here. Oh no! It's a good thing I bought a vacuum cleaner. Of course, I don't have many screws to begin with, so this would be bad to lose all these screws here. Now I'm hoping that this will boot up on the first shot. My prediction is that once I plug it in, it's just going to start booting because I always have a hard time with those little motherboard leads and getting the right things plugged in the right spot. So we'll see how that comes out. Okay. And in case anyone's worried, I am recording all of this, so I'm going to just upload it in its entirety when I'm done and then do some editing as well with it. Yes, the smoke test is coming. Yeah, they don't have a front panel block, unfortunately, on this, this case. This is a cheapo case, so it's got to go the old-fashioned way. So we got that going. And now what I'm going to do is hook up our monitor here. Put that on the desk. This is that LG monitor that we reviewed the other day. And I'll angle the camera around so you can see it in a second here. I may just move the PC off the desk here in a minute, but I think if it explodes, you probably want to see that versus not. So, all right, turn on the power strip. Okay. And what I will do is once I get everything up and running, after we install Windows and everything, I will get it routed in through my video system too, so you can see how all of it works. All right, so now I need to find the power cord for the computer. Here it is. And an HDMI cable we need too. So I'm going to get my HDMI cable out here and run that over to the monitor. This is a really nice motherboard from the standpoint of ports because, oh no, I got something screwed up. Oh no, oh no. The HDMI port is blocked by the stupid plate. I have to fix that. So the plate went in. Here's just a little issue here, folks. So the plate that is on the back here has its thing sticking into the port. So I got to pop that out real quick and see if I can get that thing out of there. There's always something right at the last minute. And hopefully we don't damage the port in the process here. There we go. Let's pull that thing right off of there. There we go. That's how it's done. You just make a mess out of it. There we go. Get that metal thing out there. Yeah. Good enough. Okay. Problem solved. Now we can put the HDMI in. Perfect fit. And then we've got the power cord here. Okay, folks. Oh, it's got a switch on the power supply too, so we have some protection here. Ready? Here comes the... Okay, that's a good sign. It's not supposed to turn on until I push the front button. Let's see if that actually happens here. Aha. All right, as expected. There we go. How about that, everybody? Not bad. Let's turn the monitor on here. And I should probably connect a keyboard to this. So let me go get my little wireless keyboard over there. Okay, so the good news is we have a computer that didn't explode on us. So if you're hoping for explosions, you're not getting that tonight, at least not yet. All right, so let us reboot here. that post screen is really quick, so we got to get on that really fast here. And let's see what happens. Hey guys, I can't control the stream quality. This is, YouTube and Comcast once again, so I will have a recording of this up after it's over with. All right, there we go. It really is not cooperative. There we go. Oh, look at that fancy BIOS screen there. All right, so we've got the AMD processor in here. Maybe I'll zoom in on the monitor for you so you can see what we've got going on here. And it's a A10 7860K at 3.6 gigahertz. So we got the RAM recognized in our 2 channel 1s, DDR 1600 RAM. All right, so let's see how this looks here. So I'm monitoring the stream live also as it's going here. It looks like it's doing okay. Let me speed up to where we are here. Yeah, see, it is definitely giving you some issues there. So I'm hopefully, I got to really troubleshoot this streaming thing. This, it's funny, I'll have a perfect stream one night and then like tonight, nothing works right. So I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully I'll get that resolved at some point. All right, so I think what I'm going to do here is just kind of go with the defaults. And what I'm going to do is, and by the way, if you want to see this monitor, I reviewed this just recently. So if you go on the channel, you can see it. It's an LG monitor. So the first thing I'm going to do here is grab our Apple stick here, which has Windows on it. And I'm going to put that into one of the USB ports in the back here. And I'm going to hit the reset button. What's amazing is that all of my buttons work too. So that's been really gratifying, actually. There we go. We got Windows going. I'm still here, by the way. You can see me. Zoom out a little bit. You can see what's going on. Okay, so let's just get this show on the road here. We'll just do a basic Windows installation. Hopefully it sees the SSD on here too. Somebody just sent me a funny text. So I'm going to send them back a thumbs up on that one. All right, so I don't have a product key at the moment. We'll do that later. And we got a choice here. We can do Pro or Home. It's going to do, well, I'll do, I actually have a key for Pro, so I'll put that on as Pro, and we'll do the key later. All right, accept the terms. We're going to do a custom install. It's funny, it's asking me to do an upgrade, and there's nothing on here. All right, so there's our SSD. We'll do a new partition on here, apply that, and let it do its thing. Next. All right, this is where we hurry up and wait. So I think what I'll do now, I need to find a better place for this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this case back together and put the monitor on top of the case, just like the old days. So let's put this on here. Oh, you know what? That fan isn't turning, though. So I need to put that fan together. Let's find another fan header on here. Probably not advisable to do this while the computer is on, but I can't see the harm in connecting a fan while it's running here. So let's just connect it up to this right over here. Zip. There's only 3 on that one. Oh, you know what? I put it in the wrong thing. Let's put this over here, maybe. There we go. Never hurts to have an extra fan blowing. Put this case back on. Well, I have to say, everybody, I am impressed that this came up on the first go, and all the buttons work on it too. Let's put this on top like this, because otherwise you can't see me while I'm doing my thing here. So we've got that going, and what I am going to do is I'm going to hook up a splitter in a minute and kind of run this through my TriCaster so we can see what's going on here at the same time. And in case you're worried about the stream quality, I am recording this, so you will have a recording up on the channel at some point. It's probably going to be like 20 gigabytes, so see how well that goes. So right now we're still installing all of the Windows features, so we'll let that do its thing. And maybe while this is doing that, I will take some questions from everybody. How about we do that? Let's see what we got here. So David's asking about cable management. I am not much of a cable management person. I probably will do some, but at this point I just want to get this thing going. One of the things you're going to find when you have a cheap case like this one, this is like a $50 case, is that it isn't really well suited for cable management. So my gaming PC case, it has a really good cable management channel. So you can actually take off the back panel and run the cables through it and get them all out of the way. This one doesn't have that. So I think if I put in a GPU or something, I would probably do a little bit more. Trevor is wondering where the copy of Windows came from. This is a legit Windows copy. I downloaded it from the media creation tool from Microsoft, so we've got a legit copy. One of the things that I did is I bought I haven't tried it yet. I went to kingwin.com and I got one of their inexpensive Windows Pro licenses, one of the OEM licenses, so we'll see if it works. It is, I mean, it's got a legit scan of it. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I figured rather than poke around with that tonight, we'll run Windows in demo mode until I finish this up on here. So, let's see here. So let's see. Christopher Pitcher says he found me for the first time and watching my Apple IIe plus Raspberry Pi video. Hit the subscribe button super hard. That's awesome. Well, actually, what I'm going to do with that, I have my Apple IIgs back here. I've got a lot of modern stuff on there, actually. So it's pretty beefy, actually. I haven't done much with it lately, but I have an Ethernet card in there. I've got solid state storage. I think I have 8 megabytes of RAM. We accelerated the thing. The thing's really cooking. So it's kind of neat. So this PC, Blaze, we're going to give this away at some point. Because I am going to kind of build this out. What I wanted to do was an experiment to see, first of all, how the AMD APU compares to some of the inexpensive Intel stuff we've been looking at. We've looked at a lot of Intel gear over the last 2 years, but not a lot of AMD stuff. So I ran into AMD at PAX East in Boston a few weeks ago, and they sent over the CPU and the motherboard, and then PNY sent the RAM over. So we're going to just find out from them, just from this, to see how it performs and kind of do a nice comparison there. So when I'm done doing all the testing and stuff, we will then probably do a giveaway on this computer. So just so you know, we are about 78% done already. See that? 80%. So it's actually copying pretty quickly, which is good. So we'll see how this rest of this turns out here. Yeah, we'll do some benchmarking tonight. I think we're going to do a benchmark on 3D Mark first, and then I want to play a couple games here, and then I want to try to get to bed before midnight my time. So it's about 10:45 right now. So my plan is we're going to do 3D Mark benchmarking first, and then we'll play a few games. I have a bunch of games on Steam already installed on here, so we don't have to wait to download everything, which is nice to have these little portable SSDs. They're really good for that kind of stuff. Euros Tech Center was wondering how old I was when I built my first computer. I can't believe this, but my laptop just froze up on me. I was probably in high school, I think. I think I was in high school when I built my first one. And I've got to wait for my MacBook now to reboot. The thing just completely died on me. What the heck happened? There it goes. This little MacBook has been like my companion for many years, and it just died on me. I have to come back up here. All right, we're about 93% done. But yeah, my first, actually, I know for a fact now, I was in college. I think I was a sophomore in college because I had cobbled together parts for a while, and I built one from those parts. It was an AMD, actually. It was my first build. And I used it as a, we actually set up a BBS server in my dorm room. And then we didn't run it for all that long because we didn't have a phone line to dedicate to it. So it was a short-lived bulletin board system that I ran on that. And then I took that case and I got a new motherboard, and I ended up getting a Pentium 233 MMX processor. That was a beast back in its day. Put that in there and got that going. And then I built, after I graduated college, I built a Pentium 2 450 machine. That was really good. And actually, that's when I started using ASUS motherboards. I really liked the ASUS stuff back then. All right, so let's go back to our questions. Let's see who else has got questions for me here. I think the stream is doing better now, isn't it, everybody? Let's see. Go back up here. Will there be touchscreen support with Windows? No, this is not a touchscreen monitor, so we won't be able to do any touchscreen with it. I have used them on low-end PCs before, and they work fine. We're going to probably boot up, I'm going to try Grand Theft Auto 5. That'll be the first one I look at, because that's one thing you can't run on the Intel hardware, so I want to see if that will run on here. I've got Counter-Strike and a bunch of other stuff, too, that we'll try out. Ryan Martinez wants to know if I built PCs before. Yes, I built many. I haven't built many recently, so the most recent one was my gaming PC I did about 1.5 years ago. So this is the second one now, and it actually hasn't exploded yet, so that's a good thing. So that was a good build. Actually, this is probably the smoothest build I've ever done in my life, believe it or not. So you guys are witness to history here. So Lon says, if you can't pronounce my name, just call me Shu. Hyde fan lovely. Anyway, excited over the AMD CPU. Yeah, I'm actually excited to see how this AMD APU works. Because you know what, I looked at an AMD APU low-cost laptop. It was an HP a while ago. I got to find my driver disk now. And I didn't really have a basis of comparison because it was one of the first low-cost PCs I looked at. So I think if I had reviewed that one now, I would have reviewed it a lot differently. So I'm kind of eager to see how this AMD stuff works. Now, I think Semper Victorum, I think they said that this one is DirectX 12 compatible. And that was what they said one of the strengths of it was, because it has more cores available. And Legacy was wondering about the SteelSeries controller. Yeah, that one is pretty good, especially because it works with Bluetooth. You know, you can do the DirectX over Bluetooth. I should probably get my game controller out now that you mention it. Let's see. I don't know about Crossfire. Euro's Tech Center is watching on Chromecast. That's awesome. That's cool that's working there. So Adam's wondering what my day job is. My day job is I work for my family's company. Well, actually, no longer. We just sold it, actually. But my family's business is called the Safety Zone. And we make gloves and safety equipment. And we recently got acquired. So I'm still working there, but I work for a larger company now. And I'll just go in and type in some passwords and stuff here. We'll just... All right, we'll get this thing going. And I think, yeah, we're making good progress here. What's nice too is that when you have an SSD, you know, this part is really a lot faster because we've got the OS now copied off of that Apple memory stick. It's funny, that USB stick, that Apple stick is actually really fast, even on USB 2.0. It's really, really funny. So Eric's job is building computers. That's a fun job. At some point in my life, I'm going to do that for a living, too. I like to build computers, especially when they don't blow up on me. So Blaze is wondering if I ever did programming. I actually do a little bit of programming, not heavy-duty stuff, but if those of you who are familiar with this are going to laugh because it's so old, but I do a lot of programming in FoxPro, which is a really old database system, but that's what our accounting system works with. Yeah, Brendan McCleary has a really good point. I'm going to probably do another live stream with the Vive at some point because there's nothing new out for this VR stuff. The stuff that's out is really cool, but there hasn't been a lot of movement in the HTC Vive software availability yet. So I need to play around a little bit more with it. The problem is I haven't had time really to play with it. I have it all set up over there, but I need to spend a little bit more time with it. What I did buy is I bought this inexpensive Thrustmaster joystick thing because I'm eager to play some flight simulators in VR, because that's been my dream for like 20 years, is to have some flight simulators to play on there. So check this out, everybody. We have a Windows desktop now. And what I'm going to do is plug in this USB stick, which has all the drivers on it. So what I did is I went and downloaded the CD drive disk that came with the motherboard on this computer. So let's go zoom up a little bit here. I will connect this to the video system and capture it directly in a little bit. But in the meantime, we're going to just go ahead and get our stuff off of this sucker. All right, so let's just run the setup. It already feels pretty zippy, I got to say. All right, we're not going to do all this junk here. I hate when they like try to. I don't want to install toolbars and whatever. I want to AMD all-in-one driver. That one sounds pretty promising. So it's funny, you can't like select. You have to do the Google toolbar in Chrome. Otherwise, I'm going to install Chrome, but I don't really want to install it from their thing. So let's do the all-in-one driver first. Okay. Through this installation process here. We'll do the Express installation, because why not? And what it's doing now is it's doing all the analysis and detecting the graphics hardware and getting everything installed. I would imagine there's probably going to be an update for this before we get too much further here. And I'll take some more questions here. Yeah, so back to Brendan's question about the Vive. I mean, I really want, here's what I want, and nobody's done this yet. Somebody needs to create the X-Wing fighter simulator, because that I've wanted to play since I was like 5 years old, 3 years old even, because that would be awesome to like be in the X-Wing. So there's a couple of space fighter games that are out for it. They're like all in beta. I forgot the name of it, but I've been playing one of them, and it's really cool. I mean, you have that experience of being in a little space fighter, and it just is awesome because you're in the cockpit, you can look around, and it's really cool. So I played that one. Elite Dangerous was pretty fun. They have an arena thing, which is free actually, and that's a lot of fun. It's like a space combat multiplayer thing. There's not that many people that play with you, but it's pretty cool to have that in there. So that was a lot of fun. So I think it's going to get better. I think the problem is nobody knows what to do with it yet. And I think about it from the standpoint is like, am I going to invest 6 or 8 hours into playing a game on this? And it's it is kind of a fatiguing thing when you play the Vive for a long period of time. I don't want to say it's eye strain, but you get tired. And I think it's just there's so much like sensory, you don't feel anything, but your visual stimulation is really a very unique experience. And what's funny is it's more compelling than I thought it would be. And again, I never tried the the Oculus, but the Vive was so compelling because you are in this field and you're walking around, and it's you're not sitting in a chair, you're interacting, you have the hand controllers and everything. It's just amazing. And I tried it out for the first time at PAX East, and my first reaction when I turned it on was like, holy crap, this is like the closest thing to the holodeck that you'll ever get. It's really that good. And what really got me with it is that the field of vision is pretty good on it. It's not as good as it should be, but I'm still getting text messages here. But it is enough to be convincing, but it's three-dimensional. So it's not like a 3D movie where you're seeing 3 dimensions inside a box. It's 3 dimensions, like it kind of tricks you into thinking you're in this environment. And there is a real sense of place that you get on this that I wasn't expecting. So that's really what's really been the most exciting about the Vive, is that not only the ability to walk around, but just how well it does the 3-dimensional stuff. So that's been really good. Yeah, Kevin, sorry about the stream. We had some issues with the stream, as we always do. I am recording everything, so I'll probably just upload the entire stream in its entirety when I'm done tonight. Big file it will likely be. So, and Ryan just talked about my day job. Actually, this is still not my full-time job. I do this at night. Nights and weekends is my routine here with the channel. Euros Tech Center, Windows or Mac, which do you prefer? Well, it's funny, it depends on what I'm doing. Day to day, I use the Mac. I like the Mac for all the video editing that I do. So I have a 5K Mac for production purposes, and Windows, though, I prefer for gaming because Windows really is where the games are at, and that's what I use Windows for. So I do both. Oh, Ryan, yeah, somebody asked it for you. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we could always build a $300 used parts machine. I think what I wanted to do was try to find what you could build new for that price. I mean, certainly you can buy used parts and piece them together and get a good deal and get everything built for sure. In fact, you could probably get a faster computer for that. We're going to reboot again here. So we're getting there. We just did the audio drivers now, so we're making good. Actually, we're making really good time on this. I've been surprised how fast this is going here. So Foreverman says he's not sure why I test PCs with Minecraft. I'll tell you why. Because when I started testing PCs, I got an overwhelming number of comments from people about why I'm not testing Minecraft on the computer. So that's why I run Minecraft. And believe it or not, the reason why I run Minecraft is that my biggest time of the year for PC reviews is when I'm in the holiday season. And a lot of parents of kids are coming to my channel to get reviews of the stuff that I'm reviewing, and they want to see whether or not this computer is running can run Minecraft, believe it or not. That's like the big request, because that's what their kids play, and they want to make sure that it works. All right, so we've got a few more drivers to install here. Looks like we got the audio working, the video is working. I am going to have to connect this to my Ethernet somehow. One thing I forgot to do when I built out this room is I didn't put Ethernet on that wall back there. I need to do that. I've got a long Ethernet cable somewhere that I can, oh, here it is, bring to bear on it. Let's connect it now. So I've got this yellow cable here. This is one of those cables that just pops out. But I use this with the NVIDIA Shield because the Shield just kind of grabs onto these cables and does some vice grips with them. So let's stick that in there. There we go. This computer on the internet. I'll probably have to update the AMD drivers too. So, all right. So we'll say get that sucker on the network here. And I think we've got this at the 1080p. Let's just double check. Actually, it doesn't look like I'm at 1080p. No, I am. All right. All right, so now we got a few more drivers to install. This has been a very smooth process so far, I have to say. I'm very pleased with how fast everything's been coming in. All right, so we did the AMD all-in-one driver. I should probably, well, the LAN is working, so I think we're good there. I don't need any of this ASRock junk in there, so I think we're good. So now what I'm going to do is I need to check and see if we are actually running with that AMD thing or if it just put it on the disk for us. Let's go look on the I want to make sure that we do have the video driver installed on here before we move too much further. Yeah, no, it didn't do that. Okay, so we gotta get that AMD thing going here. So maybe we do have to install that driver. So let's go back to the ASR setup. So we're going to install the onboard VGA driver now, and I think after that we should be good to go. So I'll probably do maybe tomorrow night or the night after is do like a regular review of this thing. So I'll kind of mix in what I did for the installation of the parts and everything. I have a feeling I did this already, but for whatever reason it didn't, the driver is not being recognized here. So let's see what happens. So right now the Windows version I have is, I do have a key for this, but I didn't have it handy with me, so I'm just running with what I downloaded from Microsoft. So if you have that media creation tool, you'll get, I think you get like a couple of days out of it before, there we go, now we're getting that driver installed. You get a couple of days out of it before they start bugging you for, activation or whatever. All right, so we're good to go there. And our next step is, after this is done, we are going to install my little SSD here. So I've got this is my testing drive. I use this for all the PC testing that I do because I have a bunch of Steam games already downloaded to it, and it's very fast. So it actually is as fast as an SSD. In fact, this is faster than the SSD we just installed on here. So, all right, so I think we are good to go there. Finish, and I think we're good on the LAN. So let's go over to. So I go to the Catalyst driver because I'm sure that we have new drivers to install on here. So here we go. We'll go over to, there's got to be an update option here somewhere, right? Software update. Wow, it's up to date. How about that? Oh, it's the software suite, not necessarily the driver. Okay, let's see. It wants my attention. I'm already in it already. All right, so I think what we're going to do now is, I think a lot of you probably want to see the gaming stuff go. Let's get the get this thing installed on here. So we're going to hook up our SSD to the back of the computer here. Pull out that installation disk. We don't need that anymore. And we'll get that SSD in there. And I don't know if you guys have ever used Ninite, but it's a great website where you can get a complete installation of a bunch of stuff in one package. So I usually run this little installer here, and this installs everything I need to get going. So I have Chrome, Java for Minecraft. We got Steam, VLC, all the stuff that I usually use when I test. I just put that in there. All right, so we're still cranking away here. And in case you're curious, you can see what parts I have put up over here. So that is what we're using. If you go there, and in fact, I got links to everything too. So what you're seeing here is, without the monitor, is about a $315 computer. So pretty reasonable. And so far, it feels pretty zippy. We'll see what happens after we get Steam installed and run our first benchmarks. I think what I'll do here is we'll run the 3D Mark benchmark, see what kind of score we get. Then we'll try out a couple of games after that. And yeah, Nahun, I'll definitely do the benchmarking live. I think I might just have it shoot the screen versus getting it hooked up to the video system. One of the problems that I have with the video system here is that it's a 1080i system, so it has to interlace the video and everything. It gets all funky. So I think actually it's a pretty good angle on the screen. So I think I might just leave it like this, if that's okay with everybody. And provided the focus doesn't go wacky like that. That's pretty funny. What it is the light reflects off of it and it confuses the camera's autofocus. So let that finish up here. I'm not going to test Overwatch because I don't own it. So we won't do that. But I think I have the Division. I don't know if I have it on this, this SSD, though. So we have to try that later. I do want to know if there's a way to get my drivers updated. I wonder if, so I know on the NVIDIA stuff they have a, it updates the driver automatically. Actually, you know what? I think when that screen went blank, I think it must have done a driver update because the Catalyst software just stopped working. Let's see. Let's go back over to. What I think I'm going to do is, after this is done installing all this stuff here, I might just do a reboot again just to be safe. it's almost done. We got Steam going there. So I think what I'll do, though, is maybe get Steam configured while we're working on stuff here. But now that the video driver's installed, it looks a lot cleaner. The display is really nice and sharp now, so it looks pretty good. And then what I need to do, I don't know if my phone is down here. I may have to go, I can do it on my computer. Yeah, seasick, I think we're okay about it catching fire. It seems like it hasn't, I think if it's going to explode on us, it probably would by now. So I think we're in good shape. So I'll let this finish doing its thing, and I'll have to get this other thing going here. Oh, somebody have an Overwatch code for me? Is that what they're offering? Let's see. Why I always wear the same shirts. Believe it or not, I have very few shirts I actually like to wear. So I put on like this, almost this standard uniform. This actually is a new shirt. So I've only worn this one twice now on the channel. This being the second time. All right, Brian. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Good luck at work tonight or today. I'm just waiting for Steam to finish updating here. So one of the things is that I don't play games all that often, so when I do boot up Steam to do whatever, I never actually play any games because I have to do all the updates. It takes a while for everything to get operating on there. I just realized too, this is the first stream I've done from the new space here. Actually, no, we did the Vive stream before. I take that back. All right, so I think we're good there. And as the catalyst, okay, so we got the Radeon. So we have a different icon down there now. So maybe it did do some driver update. All right, let me log into my Steam account. And we'll get that going here. And what I have to do now is then type in my code. So I have that Steam security thing on there. So over there, Steam support. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here, everybody, because we are now like to where we need to be, is we're going to do a benchmark. And I'm just going to pop open the Radeon settings briefly just to see if we have all that going on in there. And we'll go into settings here. So one of the things that I love about Steam is that you can do stuff like I'm doing here. I have this little portable SSD here, right here, that's plugged in, and we're just going to point Steam at it, and all the games that are installed on it are going to start working, which is just awesome. So I don't have to go ahead and install a whole bunch of stuff. I can just run with it. So program files, x86, and go over to Steam, select that. And once I do that, you see I've got 11 things installed already here, and I am ready to go. So that is all you got to do. All right, the Radeon settings never came up, but we'll do, let's go over to software. You know what I think what I'm going to do, just to tick all of you guys off? I'm going to do a reboot, because I'm not getting, there you go. Okay, now I got the settings. This looks better to me, because this is a whole different version of the thing in there. Okay, so we have, let's go over to gaming. Global settings. Okay, so it looks like it's discovered everything. All right, so we're good. I think no need to reboot. I'm happy. All right, so we've got all that going. All right, well, let's do the 3D Mark test first, and then we'll play some games. I'm not going to be able to play every game that everybody wants to play. I can only play what I have on here, but I think it'll be a good representative sample, and if you want to write in with some other stuff, I will look at those things too. And I'd love to play League of Legends. My problem is I don't know how to play League of Legends, so I'm just going to, I'll boot it up and you can tell me if I'm doing it right. But we'll let it run through its setup there. how would I borrow? How do you borrow a copy of Overwatch? I would imagine you would have to like give me the code and then it would lock itself in. So I'm willing to try it. Just it's going to take a while to download. So I don't know if it's going to be something we can do tonight. 21 Ruiner is asking about the iPhone mirroring cable I had the other night. It's an Apple cable, so I think it's like $30. Everything from Apple is wicked expensive, unfortunately. So Eric Bazinga wants to know the first video game I ever played, and I'm not sure. I'm probably going to take a guess here and say that it was probably Combat on the Atari 2600 because that was the first game console we had in the house. My father got it, and it is either that or Atari Bowling, one of the two, because those are the two games my father bought, or he had the 2600 with the pack-in game, and then Atari Bowling was the one he bought with it. So David I.O. is wondering about, make sure I didn't miss anybody here. David I.O. is wondering about how I do this streaming. Actually, I have a TriCaster. So if you go to Lon.TV/TriCaster, you can see some of the stuff I've done with it. So it's a single box that does everything. So it's recording right now. It's streaming right now. What I'm probably going to do with it is, I have it. It streams pretty decently, but we have problems occasionally, like we're having tonight. So I think it might be that I should have rebooted my router first before I started streaming out. But they've just updated the software for the TriCaster. It is a paid upgrade, but I might do that to give me some more streaming options. But I have a pretty good service from Comcast, but some nights it just doesn't cooperate. So tonight's one of those nights. Let's see. So M. Jaleski says he's got an Atari 800. My wife came to the marriage with an Atari 800, which was awesome. I have it in the other room. I haven't booted it up, but it's sitting in the other room, so I might play with that. So what I'm going to do first is actually just run the CloudGate test, because that's what I run on everything else that I have, and it's going to be interesting to see how this stacks up against those. So let's run that benchmark real quick, and we'll see how this does. This will be a good test to see how this compares to some of the Intel hardware. And I'm very eager to see what we get here, so let's see what happens. I got a blank screen. There it goes. All right. Yeah, I had problems with the Teradek also. I think it might just be... Okay, so let me tell you right off the bat, this looks really good because I'm getting a frame rate of about 38, 40 frames per second on this test, and I never see frame rates like this on the cheap Intel stuff, ever. So this is pretty good. So we're at 36 right now. Yeah, this is pretty good for a internal, integrated solution here. So I'm impressed with that. All right, so that's the first graphics test, and then the second test will run here. Don't worry about the autofocus. It's just the camera gets a little screwed up. Yeah, Ed T, you'll appreciate this. The other thing she brought to the marriage was a Sega CDX, which was really awesome. If you're not familiar with that, I did a video with that a while ago. And that one is, it's the Sega CD and the Sega Genesis integrated into a pretty portable unit. So that was a big surprise. She's like, "Is this thing, do you want this thing?" And I said, "Heck yeah," because it's great to have everything integrated. That's all the different power adapters. Single power adapter, you get the Sega CD and the Sega Genesis cartridge thing in one thing there. CSIG is wondering if you can make this into a Hackintosh. Probably not, because I don't think Apple has a system running with this AMD APU, so it probably isn't going to work with that. So right now we're getting frame rate around 36 frames per second on this test. This is really good for an integrated GPU. I don't usually see this on the low-end Intel gear. I do have a spreadsheet we're going to pull up here. Stephen Brown, the CDX is the small one. Yeah, I have it upstairs. I'll have to go get it. Not tonight, but it's buried in a mess upstairs. I still haven't moved out of the other room, so it's hard to find stuff. Yes, I'm seeing about 35 to 40 frames per second on that test also, so that's really good. Again, this is $110 CPUs with the heatsink, so this is not like an Intel i7 processor here. So I'm very pleased with this actually so far. So let's see what comes up next here. And if you want the parts list, there you go. All right, so our next test is the physics test, which is usually a little bit more demanding here. So let's see what happens there. Yeah, I probably have some fingerprints on that lens, don't I? So let me wait for the screen to come back on here. It takes a little while to load it, which is interesting, but once it is loaded, it works really well, actually. I'm pretty impressed with that. All right, so here we go. And this is a very CPU-intensive test. So we're seeing frame rates now in like the 7.5 to 8, 6.5 right now. So that doesn't surprise me because the CPUs on the Intel processors are a little bit quicker. But I must say, overall, this is pretty darn good for a $315 computer. All right, so here's the moment of truth. We're going to get our results, and then I'll compare this to what I have seen on other stuff here. So let me pull up my Google Drive on my laptop here, and we will get a feel for how this is looking here. So I feel like we're waiting for like the envelope to get sealed and handed over to us because it's still blank. Wait for it to switch back. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we've got for results now. Loading results. Very good. This is very, very good. So we got a score of 5,170 on this test. And what I like about 3D Mark is that it tests everything. It tests GPU prowess and CPU in a gaming environment. So you can run Geekbench and other stuff and try to get some other numbers, but this is kind of more of a true-to-life gaming benchmark. So just to put this in perspective, so let me pull up the list of stuff here. So my gaming PC, now, granted, that's got an NVIDIA GPU and all the other stuff. It gets a score of 27,936. This is getting 5,170. And to put that into perspective, I'm getting this score on pretty much a Skylake i7 Intel computer. So the closest comparison is going to be the Lenovo Yoga 900 that I tested. So that's an i7 Skylake. This is a mobile chip, but it's in the same ballpark here. i7 6500U. I got a score of 5,757. Granted, a much more expensive processor to go with an i7 Skylake. And its internal GPU could generate 31 frames per second on the first graphics test. On this one, we're getting 38, so we get better scores there. The second graphics test, the Skylake i7, got 30 frames per second. This one got 40, so a whole 10 frames per second there. Now, because the i7 has a faster CPU for its general processing, that one gets 11 frames per second on the physics test, but this one is getting 6.58. So, I think if you were to stack this up against a Skylake i5 or i7 processor, which is much more expensive, I think they're probably $200 or $300, 2 or 3 times the cost for the same chip. This is getting, for gaming, better performance for maybe a half or a third of the price. So that's a pretty good outcome there. So I'm very, very pleased with that result. This is a really good score for something so inexpensive. Again, $315, and that's what you're going to get there. So there's that. So let's go do a couple of games here. So I have a few games on this device, and I think what I need to do is get my game controller. So why don't we load up Grand Theft Auto 5 first. Let's just go for the gusto. And let's see what we can do there. What I'm going to do now is go get my game controller so we can see how this performs. We're doing much better on time than I expected because the last time I did a PC build, it was like to 2 o'clock in the morning before I got everything working. This was much faster. I'm getting some glitchiness though at the top of the screen here, so I need to maybe reboot. All right, so let's take out this thing here and pop in this one. Oops. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that. All right, let me go back through my chat room here. So just to go back through all of the questions, so I make sure that I miss anything here? The YouTube live chat is a real pain in the you-know-what. I never get a good chat thing going here, so wait for Grand Theft Auto to load up there. Okay, so let's see, we'll take some more questions here from other folks. All right, so if you're curious, Byton Mandel was asking about the parts list. You can go to this link here and see all the parts that we have. Eric Brunhammer met his fiancée through scrap PC parts. That's cool. All right, let's go through a few more things here. I was going through the questions here to see if I missed anything. Yeah, I think on the case, DB Jungle's bringing up the case. You could definitely get cheaper cases. So I've kind of found with this one, oh, I forgot my Grand Theft Auto account number. I got to look that up now. Let me go dig that up. So much stuff to remember now. It's just, what is this called? This is the Social Club. So let me go over to my... So yeah, I think you could really probably build this for less than $315. I think like the CPU, obviously you're going to be stuck with the price, $110 for that. But you could probably buy cheaper RAM, cheaper case. This case had a 400-watt power supply, which was nice. So in case we wanted to add a GPU or something to it later, we might be able to do something like that. All right, let me just go try to remember what my password is for my Social Club account here. I use LastPass for my password manager. So the good thing is that I have different passwords for everything, and I generally can get back into my accounts pretty quickly. Most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Oh, it's one of those. Okay, so let me go type this whole thing in here. Oops. Get back into my account. It's just such a pain. Like you got to get into the Steam account, and then you got to log into your whatever Social Club account. And I think what happens is I load this up on so many computers that they probably think I'm like pirating the thing here. I think I probably typed it in wrong too. We are unable to fall back to the offline sign because we've not previously signed that in this machine. Okay, let me try this again. Let's see if that let me in. Let's see. Now it's like twirling. So that's a good sign. So I'll take some more questions while I'm waiting for the Social Club to let me back in. Let's see. So Kevin Bragdon was wondering if $315 includes Windows. It does not. But one of the things you could do now, and you won't get to play as many games with it, but you could probably install like Steam OS on here and have a pretty good Linux gaming experience too. So that's one option if you don't want to do the Windows install. A lot of people, and actually some people had written in to me about this, that kingwin.net has a lot of OEM Windows licenses available that are seemingly legitimate. I haven't tested my copy yet, but that is an option. So if you really want to find a less expensive option for installing Windows, that might be one way to go. I have a feeling that at some point Microsoft is going to just give Windows away. And I think they're probably waiting for the time that they can make enough money selling apps and software through the Windows platform to make that worthwhile. Euro, thanks for the Overwatch password. I'll check it out. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it tonight, but maybe we can when I do the review, maybe I'll try it out for that. And right now, my Grand Theft Auto thing is like locked up. So let me go back in and try this again. This was a Social Club error. There it goes. Let's see if it's going to let me in now. Let this be the one night that the Social Club server is down, right? So there we go. I think now it's loading up. Okay, so now we're moving ahead here. Let that go ahead and load up. Yeah, Mr. Ration's wondering if we're going to have the live stream on the... Yes, so I will be putting the live stream up. I'm recording it, actually, because it broke up a few times. So I'm going to have a recording up a little bit later, maybe tomorrow or the next day with that on there. So don't worry, that will happen. All right, so we've got Grand Theft Auto 5 running in a window. There's a lot of stuff that they load up on here before we get going. You know what, Ed, I got to get going on those T-shirts and hats. I think I need to think about doing that soon. Because a lot of people have asked about them, so I may do something like that. All right, let me just get through all this stuff here. Let's go into settings. And we're going to go over to graphics. So we have a gigabyte of video memory available. Remember that it's shared with... So let's go to DirectX 11. I guess they don't do DirectX 12 yet. We'll go full screen. And let's try it at 1080 just for the heck of it and see how we do. So we already we're maxing out the video RAM already, just barely. All right, so let's apply changes. Okay. Didn't seem to respond to going full screen. Huh. All right, so why is it not giving us full screen on here? I'm going to reboot because I think I'm having some video issue here. So let's close out of here. Apply them now. Yes, I like to apply them now. Oh, okay, so we need to go, oops. We need to go and override that setting. Ignore suggested limits on. All right, there we go. Yeah, all right, there we go. Now we're getting the full screen experience here. That's good to know, 74 Ryan Wolf, that they'll stitch it back together again. I'll definitely keep an eye on that. All right, so, oh, you know what? It went down to 800 by 600 now, so let me go back and change that. I don't know what this thing is doing right now. Let's get this thing focused. Let's put the manual focus on here so you all don't have to keep seeing that thing go out of focus there. Let's get that focused in there, nice and sharp. There we go. All right, let's go over here. All right, so I just have it kind of at some basic settings here. So we're at 1080, full screen, DirectX 11. We're still within our memory limits. So let's just back out of here. And you can, if you want to see what I have here, you can see. I'm not sure how this is going to run, but we'll find out. And you know what I didn't do? Is I didn't copy over my save game. So I think I have to start a game first to do all that. So let's go back out to the beginning here. Go to story mode. I have a feeling this is going to run very slow, but we'll see. We do have 16 gigs of RAM, so we've got plenty of RAM. I think it's amazing we have 156 people watching this too. Let's see, Strong was wondering, what did I say was going to be the giveaway? So the giveaway will be this computer, not the monitor, but the computer itself, and that will come at a later time. Because I want to have this for a little bit. I do want to get a review done on it and stuff. So, but when I'm done with it, I will do a giveaway. I'm actually probably going to start doing. I have enough stuff now that I can probably start doing like a weekly giveaway. So I might start doing that just for the heck of it, so that you all can benefit from the channel here. So, all right. I think what I'm going to do here is pull up the Steam. Whatchamacallit here, the frame rate thing, so we can see what kind of frame rate we're getting. Put that in the top left, high contrast color. All right. All right, so we're running right now at about 19 frames per second. So 20 frames per second here is what I'm getting out of Grand Theft Auto right now. So I think if we adjusted settings down, we could do better. And again, this is something I could not get working on low-cost Intel hardware. So this is actually not unplayable at 25 frames per second here. I mean, you're not going to get 60 out of this at this resolution, but it is actually a playable experience right now, which is really good. So this is not bad. It's 18, 25 frames per second, so that's what we're seeing here as we're going around here. So make the hostages move into the thing there. So yeah, it's about 25 frames per second right here. Now what I'm going to do is kind of go into our settings here and see if I can get some better frame rates. And what I might do now that the game has started is I do have a save game saved on here, so I might just copy those files over and get us into the game itself. So let me do that first, and then we'll go ahead and play, try some stuff to how do I get out of this game? I forgot how to game. There we go. Exit game. Eric, this is a low-cost gaming machine, so I'm not expecting it to run exceptionally fast, but I'm expecting it to actually do more than another low-cost PC might, and it's actually achieving that. I'm actually surprised that it did as well there as it did before. What Fast to Furious 4 recommended is that we go down to 1600 by 900, which I'll do. And I just want to copy my save game file over so I can get into a spot in the game where we can just kind of experiment a little bit versus having the story run. So let's go over to this PC, go to my user account here. There is a spot where it stores my save game file. And I think if I copy over the file to there, I'm pretty sure if I copy these over, or just that one over, I think I should be in good shape. All right, so let's go back in and try that again. And then we'll start playing around with some of the resolutions on there too. Eric, I think you got to set your expectations appropriately here. This is not, running with a discrete GPU, and I think that's part of what we wanted to see here with this experiment was, what can you get a $315 PC to do? And if you look at what we've looked at on the channel, we typically look at a lot of $200 or $300 PCs, and none of them have been able to run Grand Theft Auto 5 at all. So now we're able to actually get something booted up here. And a lot of people are in the market for a gaming computer but don't have the money for it, because there are things that you can do on a gaming PC that you can't do on an Xbox. And you can get into Steam and all the great indie games that are out there, and those are things that are not always available on other platforms. So there is some advantages to running with this, even if you're not going to get everything running on it the way you'd like it to. Now let's let this boot up here for a second. Yes, I'll start playing around with the screen resolution here. For some reason, it keeps going back to 800 by 600, so we'll get it back to 1080 here, and then we'll start messing around with it a little bit more. Well, good night, Euros Tech Center. You've got a graduation tomorrow. Is it your graduation or somebody else's? All right, so the first thing I have to do is get this resolution back to at least 1080 here. So let's go do that real quick. And then what we'll do is we'll start messing around with it a little bit more and getting it down to 1920 by 1080. I don't know why it keeps going to 800 by 600. Maybe I had it set to there before. How's the stream been, everybody? I think it's been pretty stable now over the last 45 minutes or so. There we go. Okay. And now it's going to 50 hertz. Why is it doing that? 60 hertz. I wonder if it's because of the video memory limitations. So here's a question for everyone. Is there a way to give it more video memory? Because we've got 16 gigs in here. We should be able to bump that up a little bit, right? Maybe we'll poke around in the BIOS a little later and see how that does. Yeah, it just amazes me. This happened the last time I built a PC, because this is not, I mean, not the most exciting thing in the world to watch, but apparently people find it interesting to hang out on a stream for a couple hours and have all that work there. Okay, so there we go. So let's see if it will now recognize my save game here that I just copied over to it. And then what I'll do here too, we'll try out like Counter-Strike or something, but what I want to do also is just show you what some of the other games, how the other ones work on here too, because this is one thing about, these low-end PCs. There's a lot of great indie games. I'm thinking like Broforce and all those other crazy games that are really fun and, are modern, but don't have heavy, needs for specifications. And I think you can have a pretty good, there, good, perfect. So that save game loaded up. All right, so I'm getting, this is again 1920 by 1080. We're getting about 20 frames per second here. I'm really quite surprised this is working at all. And again, when we've looked at Intel computers at this price point, we have not seen performance like this. So not 60, it's not going to be there, but pretty good. So now what I'm going to do here, without doing any other crazy settings, we're going to go over, maybe just adjust the resolution down to 720p. All right, somebody said 1600 by 900, so let's try that first. So Jordan McNulty says he's got to go to work tomorrow at 6:45 a.m. but type 9 if he should stay up and watch it. Hey, if you're enjoying it, stay up and watch it. That's what we're here for. And I had one request for 1366 by 768. We're going to kind of keep ratcheting it down until we get to a decent frame rate. So let's see what we get here on this resolution. I don't know if it's my monitor or if it's the video system here. It does take a while for it to change screen resolution on here. Let's see what we get. Maybe the monitor doesn't support that resolution. That could be it. Yeah, I went back to 1920. It doesn't support. Okay, so let's do 720p. Actually, it's 1366 by 768. So let's go down to, let's see if we can get 720p. There we go. So we're going to do 720p now. Let's see if we get that working. Now, I don't have any of the anti-aliasing stuff and all that junk on, but you can see what it looks like without that. So the Meta Knight wants me to mention him. You are mentioned. Yacheng, what we're building here is a $315 gaming PC. We have an AMD APU. I've got the parts list up here, so you can check out all the parts that are going into this. And I'm recording all of this also, so we can, I'll probably just upload the recordings. It might be a better quality than what YouTube is getting for the stream. It seems like the stream health has been good, though, lately. I might upgrade, I think I might do this one of the things that I really wanted to do is like a weekly stream also. And I think what I might do is upgrade to the Comcast business service, which will probably get us a little bit more reliability. All right. So see, this monitor doesn't like other resolutions. It keeps bumping me back. So I may go get my other monitor in a second. Let's apply changes here. Yeah, but I'm really pleased with the performance out of this. I'm very, very impressed with it, especially for the money. You know what's happening here? I think what it's doing is it's asking me if it's probably putting up that warning to say, hey, are you able to see this? And the monitor is so slow to switch that it's not coming back up right away. That's probably what's happening. So let me try this again and see if we can get it to work. So Adam Silver is wondering what kind of desk chair that I use. You know, I have this chair I bought at, I don't know where I got it from. I think I got it from Ocean State Job Lot, which is a local liquidator, a while ago. All right, one more time here. But my new parent company at work is the SP Richards Company, so I would recommend buying some of their branded furniture. All right, so let's see if we can get this thing to accept the resolution here. This monitor is so slow to switch modes that it's not getting fast enough. So what I might do is go get the other monitor and see if that one might work better. Let's go do that if it comes back at 1080 again. Yeah, I think it's going to come back at 1080. So we're going to get my other monitor, which is in the other area of the room down here. So what I'm going to do is actually point my camera over there so you can see what I'm about to go do. So let's see what happens here. Well, that's a good question, Marty. I think what I might do in the review is install Star Wars Battlefront on here and do that later, because that's a big file, so it'll take a long time to download. All right. Eric, no, this is not my full-time job. This is my nights and weekends job, believe it or not. So it's all I do at night now. After my family is taken care of, I go and do that. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to go unplug this monitor and put in one that can support 720p, because this one doesn't seem to be cooperating. So I'm going to disconnect this real quick. This is that LG monitor with a really floppy case that I reviewed recently. So I'm going to put this one over here for a second. So I want to see if I can get down to 720p. And this monitor doesn't seem to be cooperating, so we're going to go take this apart real quick. For a minute there, I thought I unplugged the computer, which I didn't, so no worries there. And let's go pull up our camera 4 there. You can see me walk over to my desk area, and we'll get the other monitor over. Ooh. What's funny is I wish I could merge these two monitors together, because I really like the pedestal on this Dell monitor, but I don't like the display versus the one we've been using. It's not bad, but the other one is a little bit nicer. All right, so we got that new monitor here. There you go. Let's plug this in over here and reconnect the HDMI cable. And we're going to do a couple more games on here, and then we're going to call it a night, but I'm going to probably tomorrow night review this, and that'll be a video that will go up in the next couple of days here. So let's get this monitor connected. HDMI, there we go. Okay. All right, let's get this one going here. One issue with this is a Dell monitor that I reviewed. What I like about it is that it's on a really nice pedestal here, and you don't have to like move anything, and it's got like a nice up and down motion. It's a really nice pedestal, but the display is not as nice as that LG we were just looking at. All right, so let's get the, and it's a real pain to go through the switches here, so I think let's go down to HL2. All right, so that one's not working. Let's go back to the other one. There we go. Okay, so let's try. So this one's a little bit more cooperative on resolution. So let's go down to 1280 by 720. This actually was what the AMD guys had recommended for this chipset. That it's pretty much a 720p kind of deal. This one's having the same issue. These monitors don't like going down to 720p anymore. I don't know what the deal is with that. So Mennonite's asking you if we can stream from this computer to the NVIDIA Shield, and not in its base configuration here because this is not running with an AMD chipset on board, so that would limit you there. If you put an NVIDIA GPU in there that supported it, then you could. But there might be other ways. You probably do Steam in-home streaming, I would imagine. I don't know if the GPU on these AMD APUs supports the video encoding that you'll need on there. All right, GTA 5 just crashed. I think we totally killed GTA 5. I'm going to reboot the computer real quick here and just get a fresh boot going here. So let's do a quick restart. And you can see how quickly it restarts. Let me get the focus set on this. What's nice about having an SSD is they really do boot up quickly. Even a $40 SSD on here is really zippy. So here we go. We are back up and running on Windows. So let me log in real quick. Yeah, Eric, I was going to hook up the capture card, but the way my video system works here is at 1080i, so even all these resolution problems we're having now would be exasperated by that. So we're going to probably not do that tonight. I will do the capture when I do the review, for sure. All right, let me go back into Steam real quick, and we'll go boot that up. So we are going to just reload Steam, and then we'll go back into GTA 5 now and see if it works better. I think this monitor looks a little bit better on camera than the other one did. All right, so see what's funny when you use all this professional gear. So I have a TriCaster, which is a professional video switching device, and I use that for. Seriously, it's going to update. Oh, it's not that long. Okay, 3 minutes. So we'll have an intermission. The system that I use, it records at 1080i, so it interlaces the video and things get all wacky. So I'm reluctant to hook it up to there tonight, but I'll definitely do that when we do the review. So Bajit was wondering, Jimmy Byer. I don't remember Jimmy Byer. Yeah, so basically what happens is that my video system records at 1080i, which is an interlaced video format. So typically when people capture game footage, they record at 60p, which means that you get 60 frames of video per second. On 1080i, which is kind of a broadcast standard, what it's doing is it's interlacing the video, so you don't get a full frame of video with each screen refresh. So at 60p, every refresh is a new frame. At 1080i, every refresh is half the frame, and then it puts it all together. So it's a long story. In fact, by the time you see this, the TriCaster is actually converting my video to 720p to push it out over the thing, but believe me, it's just easier not to hook it up right now. Next time. Let's wait for this to finish up. One of the things that I'll do, and this is just not available for the TriCaster at the moment, is that it doesn't have a 1080p 60 capture mode. If it did, I would probably start doing that, but at the moment it doesn't support that. So I'm sure like whatever iteration they come up with next will, and maybe we'll try doing that. We've got to keep growing the channel, buy more gear. Yes, it is obsolete. What's interesting, though, is that most of the broadcasters here in the United States are still at interlaced. So some are at 720p. I think ABC does 720p, but the other networks are 1080i over the air right now. So that's why like a lot of things like the TriCaster, they're supporting broadcast for the most part. So they tend to stick to that. I think I can do 720p on it. I have to check. It does do 1080p 30, but I had some issues with it, so I typically just run it at 1080i. One of the things that if I ever get more time, I'll start playing around a little bit more with it. So one of these days, we'll get there. But I actually might just try hooking it up because maybe the TriCaster has a scaler that will make it work with this monitor better. All right, so let me go back over to his settings here. So it's running windowed right now at 720. I think I might just run with this here and just see what we get. Yeah, so let's just try it windowed first and see what happens. So we'll run with the same settings now at 720p. And I just want to check and make sure we're not going to limit our frame rate here at all. Oops. I'm just going to turn the VSync off, because you never know. We may actually get there. All right. So let's go back out to the menu here and go to story mode. And I'll pull in a little closer on this and see how we do. Look at that zoom. Isn't that great? It's almost like having a cameraman here. So you'll see in the upper left-hand corner the frames per second we're getting on this. Let me get a better focus here. Well, at least the title screen here is running at 60 frames per second, so we'll see how we do. All right, so now we're back up. This is 720p windowed, and we're at 30 frames per second now, so a little bit better on the performance here. So I think 720p, if your monitor supports it, is probably the way to go with this device here. But $315 for a gaming PC that can run Grand Theft Auto 5 at a playable frame rate, I mean, come on, this is a great deal. I think it's a really, I think this is a good deal. I mean, certainly if you spend more, you'll get more. Here, let's use a rocket launcher here and blow some stuff up real quick. Take out that car over there. What do you say? There we go. Yeah, so not bad. And remember, we don't have any GPU in here. This is just running off of the internal APU. So the system is the CPU and the GPU integrated into one device here, and it seems to be keeping up pretty nicely here. So 720p is probably where you want to go with this. So you might get, you might do better with a game console for some of this stuff, but you know what though, if you want a gaming PC and you want to be able to play Steam games and all the other stuff that comes with it, I think, it's not a bad choice. And you can always get a GPU later. So this configuration has the PCI Express slot, so you could just pop in a GPU. From AMD or NVIDIA, and you'd be good to go. So that's one thing to look at. I'm going to try to probably get an AMD GPU to pop in here. Maybe we'll try to get something from them on that. All right, let's see what else we got on here. So let's try like another game, and this will be more of an indie game now. So let's go over to my library, and I have. All right, you know what? I know you guys want to try this first, so let's go do Counter-Strike Go here. We'll try that. And let me zoom back out for a second. And I'll try to run this one at 1080. I think we'll actually do pretty well with this one at 1080. Good night, Jonathan. Thanks for watching. Yeah, the Meta Knight, that's exactly right. I mean, this is a full-fledged PC, so you can do a lot more with it than you could with other stuff. And, don't forget, too, that we can emulate games on here and everything else. And one of the things I may want to try is, not tonight, but hooking it up to my home theater system and see how it does as a home theater PC, because I wonder if it supports some of the higher-end audio formats, too. So, because you can always get a smaller case, maybe one of those mini ITX boards or whatever. So this is a mini ATX case because it has the slots for expansion. But if you didn't want to expand it, you could probably go with that. But I'm quite pleased with the performance out of here. I mean, we're seeing gaming performance, in line with an i7, without the GPU. Remember, we just running off of whatever comes on that chip, but still pretty decent. All right, so what we're going to do here is go over to options. What time is it? Oh my gosh, it's almost bedtime. Let's go. All right, so we're at 1080. I got everything on auto here, so we'll just kind of run it and see what we get. All right, and then we'll go offline with bots. And we'll click on, cruise. Let's try that one. Go, and we'll do harmless bots, just so we can walk around a little bit. So Lex Talk is asking about video editing. I think you could do video editing on this. You know, I've done video editing on Atom chips, which are much slower than this thing is. So I think you'll do well with that. You know, one of the things that video editing requires these days is a good GPU, and you've got a pretty decent GPU built into this chip. So I think it could do well. I think even for 1080 video, it's not going to be, again, as fast as something like an i7 or whatever, but I think it will, you know, accomplish the task here at a decent speed. Yeah, I wish Final Cut Pro ran, because I use Final Cut Pro for my video editing. And one of the things that happens when you do a lot of video editing is you become a creature of habit. So it becomes really difficult to try something new. So I've been trying to get into Premiere, but I can't get it. You know, because I've been using Final Cut for so long, it's hard to grasp that. So I'm always going to be the counter-terrorist here because I want to be the good guys. All right, so we got to wait for the, okay, all right, so hey, guess what? We're getting 40 frames per second at 1080 here, and you saw those settings there. This is good. This is really good. So this is a great Counter-Strike chip. 38 frames per second for it. So yeah, we're looking at between 35 and 40 frames per second here. And it looks nice too, nice and sharp. And if you want to see the settings, we will pull that up here for you real quick. So it's on high, very high. Multi-core rendering enable. I think that's part of what we're seeing here too, is that multi-core stuff going on there. We're at 4x for the texture filtering, 8x MSAA. So there you go. Good stuff. All right, so that's Counter-Strike. I'm sure there's a gazillion things I can try on it, but I think that gives you a good sense as to how that works on there. And Eric is right. I think you could probably get 60 if you go down to 720p, no question. No question about it. If you're coming in late, go here. You can see what parts I've got in this machine. And I want to thank AMD and PNY for sending over some of the gear that is making this thing do what it does. And we'll try a couple more things, and then I gotta get ready for work tomorrow, everybody. So this has been a fun experiment, though, to see how this can work. All right, so let's try. All right, let's try something a little more, for me, fun. I love this game, Broforce. So this is kind of one of those indie games that you really can't find all the time on consoles. I mean, maybe Broforce is on console, but let's see how it runs here. Because there's so much good stuff on Steam. It was funny when I was at PAX East. I've been out of hardcore gaming for a long time, so the channel has kind of gotten me back into it because the hardware has kind of brought me back, right? Let me go. Why is this not full screen? There we go, full screen. There we go. Set resolution. Let's go to 1920 by 1080. I guess we must be at that. Steam's running. All right, let's go back. Okay, so start game. I'll just run with this one real quick. All right, so this screen, this is kind of like the little loading screen here. Let me go find a level to play here. As you can see, I'm doing very well, accomplishing my missions. Where am I supposed to? Over there. Okay, let's go over there real quick. It's about 50 frames per second right now. This is 1080. This is an indie game, so this is going to be something that I think is well suited for a machine like this. If you have not played this game, it is great. So Ben, this is running with a AMD APU, and this is built in. This is built into the processor. So this is the equivalent of getting an Intel with the Intel chip with the Intel graphics built in. This is a machine with the with a graphics processor. But AMD has a little bit of a faster GPU built into their stuff, so it runs faster for very little money. So what we've put together here is a $115 gaming PC, or $315 gaming PC. You could probably build it for less if you have. Where's the jump button again? I keep remapping these controls and I forget how to jump. There we go. Okay, now he's jumping. So we're running right now at about 84 frames per second. So this is definitely, oh, there goes my dude here. So this kind of game, I mean, the indie stuff is going to run great on here. And I think the emulation should be pretty good too. We haven't, I should probably put the Dolphin emulator on here real quick and see how that does. This, by the way, is the most addicting game you will ever play if you're into these like quick shoot 'em ups, because every level lasts about like 2 minutes, so you can kind of go in and play for a little bit and then go back to work or whatever you're doing usually. It's pretty cool, and all the environments are destructible here, and it's really cool. So that's good, runs great. So indie games, definitely a good performance here, well over 60 frames per second on that. So let's go back to the main menu. My controller is going nuts. There we go. Let's go quit this game, and I got a few more to try out. Oh, Rocket League. You know, how could I forget Rocket League? All right, let's load up Rocket League real quick. So let's try that next. Got to install a couple things on here. So I'll take a few more questions here. I'm starting to run out of steam, everybody. Get it? All right, so we'll do Rocket League, and then I'll do a little Dolphin emulator, and then I'm going to call it quits for the night because I have to get ready for my day job in the morning. But I think this is pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this. It really is. It's running very well. You know what I might do? I got to see what I have in the closet over there. I might try to load up. Oh, I've got something coming actually. I have. You know what? This will be a really good comparison because I'm getting a loaner from Shuttle, one of their mini PCs that I think has an i7 built in or an i3. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how those two compare. All right, so let's play. Let me do a. All right, so here we got Rocket League going, and let's see what we have for settings on the display side. This is a fun game. Another game I don't have enough time to play. All right, so this is all the settings we've got here. I just kind of left it as is. The anti-aliasing is off. Maybe we'll turn it on if we've got good frame rates when we start playing here. So let's go over to Exhibition, and we'll do that. All right, so Rocket League, with those settings you just saw, 20 frames per second right now at 1080. So again, playable, and that's not something I've seen with some of the Intel chips. So pretty good here with Rocket League. And I'm horrible at Rocket League because I'm focused more on the frame rate right now than anything else. But it's staying pretty consistent, around 20 frames per second at 1080. So let's now tweak this a little bit. So we know we're not going to get that anti-aliasing working too well. So if it cooperates, let's go down to the video here and turn that down to 720. And let's see what we get there. Oh, Minecraft. Yeah, I got to do Minecraft, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. So 720 is working on Rocket League here. All right, there we go. All right, so we're getting 30 frames per second now, so you'll get a little bit better performance out of a 720p display. And you might be able to tweak some of the settings on there too. So just like Grand Theft Auto 5, we're seeing good performance at 720p with this. And again, for $300, not a bad deal. So pretty good, not bad at all. All right, we're going to do two more things, and then I'm going to call it quits for the night. So we'll leave this one. But having this portable SSD is so useful because whenever I'm doing these tests, I can just put everything on here. I don't have to keep downloading everything. These things are awesome. SanDisk makes them. Samsung makes them. Good stuff. All right, let's go over to. You know what? I got to try this one, and then we'll do the other two. So here's another example of like one of these older console games. This one's Ikaruga. It's a shooter, or a space shooter. And this was a Dreamcast game, and I'll get it full screen here in a second. All right, there we go. All right, so this is like a crazy shoot 'em up. Like totally crazy. But we're getting a solid 60 frames per second on here. So, this is, you could really get a lot of a lot of fun gaming on this machine, really. I mean, it's not bad at all. So yeah, so we're running solid 60 frames per second here. Now, what's cool about this game, you'll see that there's like different color enemies here. So I just got blown up. So what happens is when my ship is this color, I can absorb the bullets of that color. So as I'm getting shot with the red bullets, I can not get killed, and then I have to keep switching my ship's color back and forth to prevent me from dying. And of course, they mix the two together. So these guys are going to shoot the blue bullets at me, so I can absorb these red ones. And these guys are shooting the blue bullets. Those are the red guys. And I can switch color, and I can I get hit with the with the red bullet before the other thing happens. So there we go. I can absorb these. Watch out for that guy. This is a great game. So yeah, 60 frames per second on stuff like this. So this is the kind of gaming you'll be able to do. You can get away with the AAA stuff at 720p or thereabouts, and you can do pretty well with the older stuff too. So I'm quite pleased with this. Good stuff. All right, let's go quit this game here, and then we'll do Minecraft and Rocket League and the Dolphin emulator, and then we will call it quits. So let's go over to here. We'll go to Minecraft. This is also running off my little solid state drive here. And typically we see, Minecraft frame rates with the Optifine plugin installed, like around 30-ish on some of the Intel hardware. So let's see how this does. What's been interesting is that not everything has been defaulting to full screen. This one is now, so that's good. All right, so let's pick up one of my worlds here. All right, so let's pull up our, oops, shoot, wrong button. Thought I almost swore there, but I didn't. I did swear when I was playing with the Vive because it was crazy. It was like some scary stuff happening. All right, let's get my frame rate up there. Wow, okay, so Minecraft, Java's version of Minecraft running with Optifine. We're in the 95 frames per second territory, so really good stuff. I think what I'm going to do is go back to some of my prior reviews. I want to probably compare this to another desktop running with a similar class processor. But this is great. Look at this. Yeah, so all of you who have really been urging me to take a look at these AMD APUs, I think you're going to be quite pleased here that this is really good performance here. This is at 1080 versus 720, by the way. And this is a quad-core chip, too, for $100. Very, very nice. All right, so that's that. Okay, next thing, we will do one little spout of Dolphin emulator. I think I have it on here. Yeah, I do. Look at that. Do I have a game on here? I even have a game on here. Perfect. Oh, I got to get MSVP 140 DLL. PC runtime. Oh, great. Hang on, I gotta find that again. See what that error was. MSVCP 140. Oh, right, Visual C++. Okay, so let's grab, yeah, there we go, this one. Download that sucker. Even just like browsing around with this thing, it's been pretty good. No. So it already has it, but it doesn't have what it needs to get this done here. Let's see, Dolphin emulator. Prerequisites. Okay, so let's get this one. It's amazing how many different versions of this there is. All right, setup is going to configure. Hopefully it doesn't crash our system in the process here. finish that. All right, so let's try this again now. We got that installed. Let's see if we got everything. We may need something else still. Program cannot find. Still, come on. That's not cool. All right, let's go back to that prerequisite thing. Maybe I need to get this in here too. DirectX end user runtime web installer. All right, that's not helping us, is it? Huh. See, these things are always deceiving because you end up in some malware jail. And this is Microsoft's own search engine. You think they would have like a better... You know what I'm going to do? I'm also going to get the x86 version. I'm pretty sure Dolphin's a 64-bit application, but it might need... newer version of the Microsoft Visual. All right, let's go. It's running on there. Yeah, let's grab a new version of Dolphin and just be done with it. Let's go do that real quick. See, that's not the right website, is it? Dolphin emulator. There's always something that trips me up at the end here. There we go, dolphinemu.org. And we got to install 7-zip. Hey, Rerez is here. I love Rerez. I love all of you, by the way, but I love watching Rerez. He has some cool stuff. All right, let's run that sucker. And I'll put up our list of parts here again in case you're curious. All right, I think it's done already. How about that? This really is a pretty snappy little computer. Ah, that stupid problem again. Ah, PC. Okay, so we need to go back and find some other version of this thing here. Let's see. I did see some mention on the Dolphin site that they've added a visa. Okay, so let's try this 2015 redistributable on this particular version. They claim to have the Visual C++ on this one. Unless it's in the folder here. Yeah, it's not in there. It's always something that trips me up with this stuff, and this is one of those times. All right, so let's go back. Oops, shoot. Zip extract here. If anyone has some ideas for me, I'd greatly appreciate them. All right, one more time here, everybody. Sorry about this. That's good. It's installing something this time. All right. One more time. Come on, Dolphin, let's work this time. So I'm actually going to go back to the one that I have on here because I have a save state for that game. So if it, there we go. All right. So now I'm going to go over to open here. And we got that going. And I have a save state, I believe. So let's load a state. There we go. And now I need to get Mario out of his. Okay, so we're seeing a pretty solid frame rate here. So we're getting, essentially 60 frames per second right now as we're running around here. Let me go adjust some of the settings on the screen here. Yeah, so I think, Dolphin's going to work pretty well on here, actually. I'm not seeing any real slowdowns here. The big test is when you jump in the water. I need to enable my controller here. Let me do that real quick. Nothing's working. Let's stop all this and start over again. One more time. All right, go back to open. I have to map everything? Is that what I have to do? That's probably what I need to do. There we go. What a pain in the butt. All right, good enough to start with here. Let's go back over, close this out, and let's go over to graphics, and let's take a look and see what we have for full screen, terminal resolution. What the heck? Let's do 3x and see what we get on that. And load our save state. Well, I have to say, I think from the standpoint of just being able to run Dolphin, it seems to be working quite well. Let's load up my save state here. Yes, we're seeing a little bit of a drop in frame rate here now that we're kind of trying to go to 1080p on the resolution, but not bad. I mean, it's still pretty solid here at 30 frames per second. And then the VPS, which I think is the on-screen rendering here, is still pretty good. So I think you are not going to have any problems with this whatsoever. Oh, there's a little bit of lag there. I found when you're testing this stuff that when you get to the water, that's where you see some of the slowdown. But even there, I'm not seeing much of a slowdown at all here. So it's still pretty solid. Yeah, I think we're good. So that is Dolphin. Good night, Rerez. I'm about to call it quits myself, but let me take a look here. I think we're running at, let me take a look at the graphics here. Yeah, we're running at 1080p here, 3x native, 1920 by 1584. I didn't have the anti-aliasing turned on. Maybe I'll turn some of that stuff on. Maybe I'll just crank all this stuff up here and see what happens when I do that. So let's open it up again and see what happens now. Yeah, that might have. Yeah, that probably did it in. The mouse still moves, but nothing else seems to be functioning at the moment. Yep, that might do it for tonight, everybody. But at least you get a sense as to how this works. I'm pretty impressed with this. So to recap, and I'll do a video where this will be much more concise. This has been about a 2 or 3 hour endeavor here. I'm just going to turn it off. Why not? I can just rebuild it. So this turned out to be a 2 or 3 hour endeavor just to kind of get everything up and running. But what I am going to do is a more concise review of this, kind of showing what we did to build it, and then also look at a couple different games and give people a feel for what you can do with a AMD processor. So my opinion of this is better than expectation. I think that if you build a $315 gaming PC, you will be able to run the AAA titles at 720p and a lot of the indie games at a pretty decent frame rate here. So I'm very pleased with how this is operating here, especially for how little you can spend to get something very functional. What I am going to do is go back through some of my other PC reviews, and I think I'm getting an Intel machine in from Shuttle, and I'm hoping it might actually be here this week, which is going to be an Intel-based machine, desktop, very similar in class to this. That has the desktop processor. We can get a feel for what Intel can do on the graphics side. But I do think these APUs have much better GPUs built into them and are better suited for low-cost gaming like this. So really cool. I'm very, very pleased with that. So I hope you all enjoyed this. And I wanted to thank all of you for joining us. And thanks, Eric Bazinga. Nice meeting you too. Thanks for coming in and watching. And yeah, I'm going to do, I'll hook this thing up to my TriCaster and get direct feed recordings on it later. And I will also see exactly how this looks when we're done with the stream here for the YouTube channel too. So that will do it for this evening, everybody. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about this. So leave some comments. Email me at Lon@Lon.TV. These are always tough to do because they kind of just ramble on, but I think we had a pretty good progression. The build was very fast. It got Windows installed very quickly. I'm very pleased with how little time wasted there was in putting all this stuff together here. So that's going to do it for me tonight. I'm going to stop recording now. This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.